with Guide Us TV.
MashaAllah, we're coming on straight. We don't have any promos going, and we are live. How about that?
Wow, MashaAllah.
Pushing, MashaAllah. I didn't push any buttons. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. Anyway, alhamdulillah. So we have something tonight that I'm going to keep working on until I get it finished in about 2 minutes. And it's about the Quran. And it's so amazing. I found another miracle on the Quran. No, I didn't find it, but I found a video about that. So, yeah, I want to share it with you.
Okay, well, while Brother Yusuf is working on that for the next couple of minutes, you got me.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk About It, where we're almost live. And the reason why we say we're almost live is because there is a small delay. So with that, there's some things I wanted to talk to you about, and I think it affects more than just me, especially for people that are converts and new converts. Sometimes the problem is we don't get, in my case, when I first converted, there was no proper teaching.
How is the Quran? What is so?
So there was no proper teaching. And so no matter what city I moved to, I never got any proper teaching. So this is where I struggle. And I'm still hoping that there are people out there that are saying, oh, Brother Habib, we can help you with this. And I'm pretty sure there's other people that are like me that need this help and support in this mentoring. And it's so important for brothers that know the Quran and that know the hadiths and can help brothers like me. And for sisters that are like this, there's sisters that can help them as well. And may Allah bless us all. Ameen. So, Brother Yusuf, are you ready yet?
Yes, sir. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. And I heard part of this. This sounds really good, but I'm not going to say anything until everybody hears it.
Okay.
Is the Quran miraculous? What is so miraculous about the Quran? There's many things. I'm just going to mention 3 or 4 and then finish off inshallah with the one that is the most important for all of you over here. Of course, of the most obvious miracles of the Quran, of the most obvious miracles is how powerful, how beautiful, how eloquent it is. There's no other speech like it that is similar to it in its beauty. And there's so many stories from our seerah, from the interactions of the Prophet ﷺ. Have you heard the name of Khalid ibn al-Walid? You know the famous companion Khalid ibn al-Walid? His father, whose name was, what was his father's name? Louder. Al-Walid, obviously, very good. Khalid ibn al-Walid. What's his? Al-Walid, yes. Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. The sisters are winning the brothers. You guys, you need to up your game. MashaAllah, good job for you sisters. Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. And who was Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira? He was the chieftain of the most popular and the most famous and the most rich tribe. He was a politician, Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. And the Prophet ﷺ was reciting Quran in front of the Kaaba. And Al-Walid walked by. And Al-Walid was the most respected poet of the Quraysh. He was a politician and an author and a poet, a very respected intellectual. When he heard the Prophet ﷺ reciting the Quran, he paused. He stopped walking and he was in a trance. Can you imagine the Prophet is in front of the Kaaba, he's doing his tilawah. By the way, imagine your favorite qari, right? Imagine your favorite qari and how we love listening to our favorite qari. Can you imagine listening to the Prophet's qira'ah? Can you imagine that beauty? Inshallah, one day we hope in Jannah, we hope to listen to the Prophet ﷺ. All of these qaris that you love, good for them, we all love them. But we miss the one voice that would have been the queen of all voices. And inshallah, we hope inshallah in Jannah to hear that voice. So can you imagine, Al-Walid is listening to the qira'ah of the Prophet ﷺ directly. He's in a trance, as if he's transported to a different time and place. And the whole Quraysh are looking at him because they see he's been affected by the Prophet ﷺ's recitation. Then the whole rumors began to spread. Is he going to convert? Has he been influenced? Is he going to become Muslim? And Abu Jahl, who was his cousin, Abu Jahl comes to him. And Abu Jahl, who was younger than him, he's an older man, Al-Walid, Abu Jahl says, your whole tribe is in fear, they're shaking. Are you going to convert? And of course he never converted. He goes, no, I'm not going to convert. So Abu Jahl says, but you were affected by the Quran. You were affected. And he said, why should I not be affected? I have never heard anything more eloquent than the Quran. This is somebody who is an enemy outside of Islam, who is the best. And he even said to Abu Jahl, you know that I am your best poet. You know that nobody can compete when it comes to poetry. And yet I have never heard anything like the Quran. This is the father of who, guys? Khalid ibn al-Walid. This is the father of Khalid ibn al-Walid. Abu Jahl says, no, we will not let you leave in public until you say something against the Quran. Until you say something against the Quran. Abu Jahl is threatening him because people are scared. And so here's the beauty of the Quran itself. I'm telling you something that goes back to the Quran itself. This is a private conversation between Abu Jahl and between Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. Nobody's there. Nobody's there. And Abu Jahl says, Al-Walid says, let me think, what can I say? Let me think. Leave me alone. And let me think about what I can say. And Al-Walid then begins walking in his house, all alone, nobody is there. Al-Walid begins walking, his face is frown, he's thinking, what should I say? What should I say? What should I say? And subhanAllah, listen to the story. Before Al-Walid comes out of his house to tell the people what he was about to say, Allah revealed in the Quran, exactly describing what had just happened and saying what he would say before he said it. So when he came out, not knowing Allah had revealed Quran, subhanAllah, it was another miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Quran. And who can tell me which surah Allah revealed? Yes, very good. At least the brothers have one, guys, okay, mashallah. 1-2. Right now the score is 1-2. Don't worry, I'll give you more opportunities. You can up the game. Surah Muddathir. Which section of Surah Muddathir? Which section of Surah Muddathir? Tell me the ayah. Yes, sister. Raise your voice. Excellent, but go to the beginning. Excellent, you got again to the middle. Go to the, where does the scene begin? Where does the scene begin? Yes. Yeah, the sister says something similar. You're right. Keep on going. ذَرْنِي وَمَنْ خَلَقْتُ وَحِيدًا وَجَعَلْتُ لَهُ مَالًا. So, Al-Walid said, leave me alone to Abu Jahl. Leave me, I need to think. Allah says, leave me alone with Al-Walid. I will take care of him. He quoted Al-Walid against him. ذَرْنِي وَمَنْ خَلَقْتُ وَحِيدًا وَجَعَلْتُ لَهُ مَالًا مَمْدُودًا وَبَنِينَ شُهُودًا وَمَهَّدتُ لَهُ تَمْهِيدًا ثُمَّ يَطْمَعُ أَنْ أَزِيدَ كَلَّا إِنَّهُ كَانَ لِآيَاتِنَا عَنِيدًا. And then Allah describes Al-Walid in the privacy of his house. إِنَّهُ فَكَّرَ وَقَدَّرَ فَقُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ ثُمَّ نَظَرَ ثُمَّ عَبَسَ وَبَصَرَ ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ وَاسْتَكْبَرَ فَقَالَ إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ يُؤْثَرُ إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا قَوْلُ الْبَشَرِ. In other words, and by the way, the beauty of these verses itself is a miracle. You don't even need to know Arabic just to listen. You all love Surah Muddathir because it has these powerful verses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used His words against him. And Allah quoted him against him. And Allah described him in the privacy of his house. He's walking around. He's in a frown. He's thinking. He doesn't know what to say. And the max he can say, in هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ يُؤْثَرُ. This must be some type of magic I don't understand. So when he exited the house, he was gonna say, this is a magic I don't understand. Too late. Allah had already revealed the Quran and Allah had exposed what He was going to say. Do you see the miracle of the Quran? Do you see how powerful the Quran is? That Allah describes His own inner thoughts, and Allah describes in His own household, and Allah describes what He was going to say before He says it in a language far more eloquent than anything humans can produce. And this is just one story out of hundreds and thousands.
MashaAllah. What do you think about that? Khalid bin Walid's father, Al-Walid, and he never accepted Islam, but he was going to make up something to say about it. And then the Quran told everybody what he was going to say. And it also talked about the privacy of his own house. MashaAllah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one behind the Quran. And there is no doubt at all. What do you think about that?
Well, this is true, and it's an amazing story when you listen to it and you see what's happening during that time, and where there's so many people against the Prophet and saying that, this book, it's made up and other things. So when you hear this type of miracle that's in the Quran, that even before he comes out of his house, people hear this. It's so amazing. You can tell it's only from Allah, because only Allah could do this. And I hope people understand this aspect of this.
Well, if they don't, that's sad. That is really sad for them, because how could anybody make up something that they don't know about? That is the best proof of all. The Quran is the thing that we need to hold on to, because if a person understands that the Quran is the recitation of Almighty Allah to His angels and then to His human being followers, this is something amazing when you hear the Quran, even from the person who doesn't really understand what it is, but he's reciting it, or the person who is not able to really enunciate and perfect the Quran, but you still get the amazing effects of the Quran. Whoa, yeah. Anyway, mashallah, mashallah.
So, to me, when I hear things like this, it strengthens my faith, because you realize what's being said. And the thing is, and I pointed this earlier, and I wish that there would be more people that would be out there to help converts in mentoring them and giving them the support that they need. Because a lot of times what happens to converts is they revert back to the religion that they were. And to me, that's even worse than them struggling. So we need to be mindful of this, because in helping them to be able to get past a certain point so they can study on their own, and then they can help others learn as well. And like Brother Yusuf, at first, I mean, you were, there's a period of time that even you went through this.
Repeat what you just said, because I
mean at the beginning, there's a period of time that you were learning, and who did you have to mentor you?
Actually, that was my own fault, but there were people there that might have done the mentoring. However, I drove off from Dallas, Texas, about 500 miles south, maybe more. Oh, yeah, it's more because I crossed the border into Mexico. So that's about 800 miles, 700 miles. I don't know. Anyway, I went down there as a new Muslim. And the one thing that I remember, you brought that up. So yeah, I'm remembering, I met a person that was going to work on my car that I took down there. I had a problem with it. And he was a shade tree mechanic. You know what that is?
Well, you kick a tree, a mechanic falls out?
Yeah, well, we used to call it shade tree because you pull your car over under a shade tree and then work on the car. Anyway, so he was a young man and he was working away. And I tried to talk to him about the religion. That's my first effort ever. And he said, well, I'm a Jew. And I said, oh. He said he converted to Judaism. And I started talking to him as though, we're on the same page. And he said, what do you mean we're on the same page? And I said, well, God is one, and we follow the God of Abraham. And he says, no, Jews hate Muslims. I said, huh? And that was on the Mexican border. He was educating me about that. And I still didn't understand that some of the Zionists and maybe some of the Jews do hate Muslims. And I don't know why, but I do know that I have a lot of friends today that are really, really good friends, and they are Jews. And the Quran says in translation, the translation of it, many of them say, don't take the Jews or Christians for your friends. Did you know that?
Yes, but I think there's a little more to it than just that, yeah. Because when it comes to a translation, you got to understand that sometimes it's not always written right. Yeah. And I know this.
The word is wali. They're translating it as a friend. But a wali is somebody over you. And I've talked about that before, and you heard me talk about it. But the wali is the one that you have to get for a girl to get married. She has to have her wali with her, or somebody that to take his place from her family. It's usually her father. Usually the father is the one that will take care of his daughter getting married. Okay, so that is the position of a wali. Don't put these people over you to make decisions for you or help you make decisions, because they will always use their influence over you because you're asking them to do that. And it's going to it might wind up in a bad situation, because you're only having Allah, His Messenger, His Quran over you, and the people that are Muslims. So if you put somebody over you, like as an example.
Well, I got a good example.
Okay.
Because in Canada, and I don't know about the United States, but in Canada, when you go to your doctor or you're doing certain things, you need to have a next of kin. Usually this is a family relative. And in my case, it's actually a dear friend of mine, and I mentioned him different times, and yes, he is a Muslim. And I asked him if he'd be willing to do this. So this friend moved away, and then I asked another brother, Muhammad, would he be willing to do this? And he said yes. But he wanted to know what was involved. And I said, the one thing that's in regards to this, say if I get sick or something happens that, well, eventually we know we're going to die. So this deals with my death and making sure of my burial. And he said, yes, he'd be willing to do this. So you got to understand, if I would have got a Christian to do this or a non-Muslim, my wishes wouldn't be fulfilled. So I understand the importance of this, because when you're looking at this and saying, you want to have the right person to do this for you, and it's so much more important when it comes down to somebody getting married and having a walid that's going to do the best in regards to you, the person that's getting married. So I don't think when people think about these things, I know with my sister, she has nobody as next of kin really. So it's up in the air what's going to happen to her. And so I feel sorry for her in that behalf, because she doesn't trust anybody enough to do this.
What about yourself? You can help out.
I could, but I could bring it up, but I know she's going to say no to it. And it's not like I haven't done a similar thing before. I done it with my brother Leo, my friend Jim. And but the thing is, I would like to talk to her a bit more about Islam in this coming year, and just be willing to talk to her. And I know now that there's sisters up in the Campbellton area, so I'm going to contact a friend of mine that his family's up there, and hopefully that she will allow to have visitors so they can go in and talk to her, because the thing is, I can talk to her, but if a sister goes in to talk to her, it's a little different, because I think they can relate to each other a little bit better than I can relate to her.
You said in one of our programs that your sister doesn't know how to read?
Yes, she doesn't know how to read or write. So that's the reason why it's like, if it's audio, if it's video, like a video recording or things like this, she's an intelligent woman. She did her own dealings with money and everything. She's well aware. She can sign her name. But besides that, I mean, she ran the house for the longest while before she ended up in the hospital. So, but the thing is, when you're relying on other people to read for you, it becomes a lot more difficult.
Well, yeah. And I feel like that if she heard the Quran recited by another lady, that would be a beautiful thing for her. What do you think?
I think so too, and that's the reason why I'm thinking in this way, because it would be different than me playing it, but having a person actually recite it there, and so they could talk and they can have a discussion, And the thing is, I know this sister will befriend her and, help her along on her journey.
Yeah, if your sister becomes a Muslim, that would be everything for you and for her. And at the time of your passing away or she passes away, there would be people around you to help mitigate some of the problems that you would have. That would
Exactly.
that was the best thing and the big thing for you, because yeah.
The funny thing about my family is, even if she did convert to Islam, nobody would bother with it anyway. So because we're not a close family, we never really were. I mean, there's some siblings that I was closer with than others, and one had passed away several years back that I was close with, but because of her daughter, I couldn't get past a certain point, because her daughter was always telling my sister, something different. So, and even when it came to not eating pork, she didn't even want to give up pork. And it's like, but the thing is, she thought it was some man in the desert that started this. And I said, no, this goes back much, much further than that. And Joanne told her, but yet, she made up her mind that Islam wasn't for her. So that's the sad part about all this.
That's the same thing that happened to my mother. My sister, my youngest sister, talked to my mother after I had laid it out, and she said, that Paul was a not nice person. He was always admitting that he had sins, and openly, and he even says in the Bible that he is a liar. He said, if the lies I tell are helping people get to the religion, why are they persecuting me? And he was talking about the people persecuting him were the followers of Jesus. Though they knew Jesus when he was alive. Well, when he was here on the earth, he's still alive. Yeah. And he's coming back in the last days. And I think we should take a break right about now. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan. So, Stay tuned and stay guided with Guide Us TV.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, it didn't work. The button push doesn't work.
The guy that always presses buttons and he didn't press the right button.
Well, I pressed it, but it didn't work.
Stay tuned. More coming up right here on Guide Us TV.
How can you get rewards like we do? 3 things you can do. Make dua for us and include yourself in the us. Number 2, shareislam.com and share the emotions that you have when you think about being a Muslim. And number 3, join us. Support dawahpartners.com. It's easy, real easy.
Get connected with Guide Us TV. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/guideustv1. Join us on Google+, plus.google.com/+guideustv. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/guideustv1. Find us on Flickr flickr.com/photos/guideustv, and add us on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/guideustv. Get guided with Guide Us TV.
Thanks to all of you for watching, sharing, and spending your time with us on Guide Us TV. And remember, tell everyone, stay guided with Guide Us TV.
We'll be back right after this. You're watching Guide Us TV.
A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way.
I got the right button. I had trouble turning it on and I had trouble turning it off. Anyway, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Huwaladi Jalna Muslimin. It's about 2 minutes after the half hour, right?
Yep.
So, and we have something for all the people out there. This is Surah Al-Dariyat, and I would like for you to see in this chapter number 5:1 and verse number 5:6, 5:1, 5:6, 51, 56. So, and it's called Al-Dariyat, the scattering winds. The winds that are scattered, you know. So this is our purpose of life. People like to ask that question. And from a standpoint of not knowing, almost half my life, well, over half my life, I didn't know exactly what our purpose was. I thought it was to make money, to have a job, to work hard. And I did all of the things like that and have a family. You know, this was my purpose. But I didn't know there was an overall purpose. And in the Quran, you can see a beautiful, beautiful example of exactly what is our purpose. And the Creator himself is telling us. So I would like to share that if you don't mind. So
Yes, please. I think other people would love this too.
all right. So here it is. And I'm going to leave you and me on the bottom of the screen. So this is Al-Dariyat, the Surah of the Scattering Winds. And it says, well, let you listen to it.
وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون.
And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me.
ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون.
I do not want from them any provision, nor do I want them to feed me.
إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين.
Indeed, it is Allah who is the continual provider, the firm possessor of strength.
فإن للذين ظلموا ذنوبا مثل ذنوب أصحابهم فلا يستعجلون.
And indeed, for those who have wronged is a portion of punishment, like the portion of their predecessors, so let them not impatiently urge me.
فويل للذين كفروا من يومهم الذي يوعدون.
And woe to those who have disbelieved from their day which they are promised.
MashaAllah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والطور.
By the mount,
وكتاب مسطور.
and by a book inscribed,
في رق منشور.
in parchment spread open,
والبيت المعمور.
Yeah, I would like to bring us back out here. Let's see if I can find the button that will do that. Yeah, here we go. So, what do you think about the purpose of life? And then I just like to let the Quran go for a few minutes. But the purpose of life is all set out by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's telling us he did not create us, the mankind and the jinn, or the jinn and mankind, except for worship to him. And if we pay attention to that and we worship him and him alone, we're on the right path. That's simple. That's a beautiful, simple way to say it. What do you think about that?
It is a simple way to say it. And when you think about it and you look at people, and like, I have a habit, doesn't matter where I am. I'm the type of person that I prefer to sit sometimes in the back of the mosque because I can see more people and I can watch people. Or if I'm on the bus, I usually watch the people around me and see, what's going on. And it's amazing when you look at people and you can tell that by their behavior and what's going on, that they don't have this awareness of the Creator. And sometimes it shows, and sometimes because of they're depressed or whatever, there's different things that's there. But you can always tell when people know the Creator, even though they're struggling and going through a hard time, and with hardships. And when I'm talking hardships, keep in mind, I have friends in Gaza. So, and I'm talking from one extreme to the other when it comes to hard times. So you can tell that there's a big difference because they know the Creator. They know that Allah is going to help them through this. And that is so important for a lot of us to realize this, and that we can call on Allah. It's even if it's Allah help in something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be a fancy, complicated dua. Sometimes when you're in need, you're in need, and it doesn't have to be fancy.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. the idea of the Quran speaking to us. And I like to translate that to English language as recite or reciting or recitation. I almost said resuscitation, bringing somebody back. Anyway, so Alhamdulillah.
Well, is it converting to Islam like that, really, when you think about it? Because you were in that area, and then when you converted, you were brought back to the right life.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why, but maybe that's why they say that you reverted to Islam instead of converted. Because every child is born innocent, and in the obedience, automatically, the obedience of Allah. They are obeying what Allah wants them to do, because they don't even have a choice yet. They know hunger and pain and agony, and they're just like, and then sometimes they're laying in their bed and looking out the window or something like that, and the sunlight is coming on them, and they're yeah. So that's the life. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think the best life is to be in this world, is to be in the surrender and submission of the Almighty. And that's what Islam means, really. It means that. So if anybody would like to enjoy the rest of their life here and enjoy the better life on the other side, let them listen to the Quran and make their choice. Yeah, maybe somebody needed to hear that right now.
Yes. Right. And the thing is, no matter what you go through in life, no matter what struggles I face, I know that I can rely on Allah to help me through this. And it doesn't matter what difficulties it is. And I faced some major difficulties just before I converted to Islam and afterwards. And looking back, I could see how everything was organized by Allah for that moment in time, and for me, even like looking back and seeing, why things happened the way it did, and it was to help me to become better at, to I wouldn't say better, but to actually look at the importance of seeking Allah and the importance of sharing that message so other people will know what's going on. And so I thank Allah that my life has changed. And the thing is, when you're looking at converting, and it's got to be your decision. I can't tell you, oh, you have to do this, because that means you're being forced. And nobody should be forced to convert to Islam. And Allah even says this. So the thing is, for me, to share and I'll share one story with you, because this is after I converted and my friend passed away. And the thing is, nobody in his family was wanting to take care of his funeral, even though, and I'll back up before he died. There's the brother that led me to Islam and told me about Islam was talking to my friend and trying to convince him that this is what he needed. What my friend Jim did was block him. And I told him there was nothing else he could do. So I talked to Jim about it, but yet he didn't, as far as I know, he didn't convert to his, who knows, on his deathbed, that could be different. It's hard to say. But the thing is, when he died, his family, his sister, his only sister, didn't want to have anything to do with the funeral. And so it's like, well, you can do it. So I ended up making the arrangements for all this year stuff. And it's, as a Muslim, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to do certain things. Because at the time, I'm just looking at the fact that I'm doing the right thing in regards to my friend having a proper burial. So this is what I did. And still, when you're looking, and still, when I look back at this was still a child of Adam.
I think that a lot of times people follow their back home, their religion from back home. Actually, somebody helping a burial, that is not a bad thing. That is a very commendable thing to help somebody get buried. What else are they going to do? How would the person be taken care of? I don't know. You stepped up and you helped. So, I don't see a problem.
Yeah. And to me, I would do that with any member of my family too, because I know with my brother Leo, nobody in my family wanted to deal with his burial. And so I did. And then I'm not saying that because, oh, look at Brother Habibi, such a great person. No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it was something that needed to be done. And I was there, and me and my brother, we fought. But at the end of the day, that was still my brother. And I wasn't a Muslim then because this was 2011. And so with that, I still said, this is my brother, and I wanted to make sure that he had a proper funeral. And I'm so glad that a friend of mine stepped in and did the funeral service. So, and we're still friends. I'm still friends with Father Phil to this day. So with that, what I think I'm trying to say is there's things in life that we do that makes a difference in other people's lives. And as a Muslim, people watch us. People, and you don't know what little thing that you're doing. And they say, well, they might come to you and say, you're Muslim, right? And start asking you about Islam. You never know.
By the way, on another subject,
yes,
there is no phone number on here, is it? Can you see it?
Just give me a sec.
The phone number, if you want to call in.
Yes, the phone number is there.
Oh, okay. 1-800-971-4383. When the show is on the air live, you can call in and ask a question or speak your piece. Give us what you got. So call us now, 1-800-971-4383. And let's go back to the Quran and just see what it says after you accept Islam. Because we now found out that the worship is only to Allah, and that's why you created this. So if we're trying to do that, what happens? And you described some of the things, the challenges, and I've described a lot of challenges off and on. So let's take a look at what Allah says in Surah 29. Let's see. It's called Al-Ankabut, the spider. What does Allah tell us after he says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alif Lam Mim? Let's find out.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Mim.
Alif, Lam, Mim.
أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون.
Do the people think that they will be left to say, we believe, and they will not be tried?
ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وليعلمن الكاذبين.
But we have certainly tried those before them, and Allah will surely make evident those who are truthful, and He will surely make evident the liars.
أم حسب الذين يعملون السيئات أن يسبقونا ساء ما يحكمون.
Or do those who do evil deeds think they can outrun us? Evil is what they judge.
من كان يرجو لقاء الله فإن أجل الله لآت وهو السميع العليم.
Whoever should hope for the meeting with Allah, indeed, the term decreed by Allah is coming, and He is the hearing, the knowing.
ومن جاهد فإنما يجاهد لنفسه إن الله لغني عن العالمين.
And whoever strives only strives for the benefit of himself. Indeed, Allah is free from need of the worlds.
Anyway, that is really quite interesting, because Allah is telling us absolutely that it's not going to be easy. He said, do you think that you just come into Islam and everything is cool? That's me doing a translation. But yeah, I think that the idea behind all of it is maybe everybody should look at it like, I come into Islam and I'm going to be tested on the things that matter to me, not somebody else. Maybe other people do drugs or drink alcohol or they smoke or they do all of the things that, you know, they have to give it up and they'll have a big deal. But maybe something that you are doing, like music. I like to listen to music, okay? And I'm saying that as somebody else. But I don't listen to music now because I found that there was a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ saying that the people of the last days will make it musical instruments as halal. And I thought, huh? I thought they were already halal. But it turns out that that's not something that we should do. And anyway, so I gave up the music business and I shut down all of the stores yeah, because I would rather be closer to Allah and instead of being closer to the music business. So there is chances for people to understand that it's not going to be so easy. Okay,
Well, this is true. And it's also true that, like, what your tests are going to be or were, it's not going to be the same as mine, and it's not going to be the same as other people, because we're individuals, and because of that, there's certain things that were in our life that needs to be dealt with, and so therefore we're going to be tested on those things, so that it comes. I don't know if I can use this word and it would be the right word. It would be almost like a purification to get rid of the impurities from us.
I think tomorrow that we can work on letting people understand how to use our website, our many websites, from the Quranic perspective. Maybe that they would be able to use our websites to help other people get to Islam, or maybe their family or their young ones or old ones would enjoy that. So we'll talk about how to use that particular website that we were just talking about, the website called recitequran.com. recitequran.com, and then we'll talk about that after we do another program about this. I figured this was going to happen. So anyway, let's do the closing. What do we say?
Gee, I forget now. Could it be stay tuned and stay guided with Guide Us TV?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Stay tuned. More coming up right here on Guide Us TV.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Yusuf Estes with really good news. But first, many people are hearing things about Islam